Thank you all for indulging me, allowing me into your ears and into your heart, and then maybe into your mind to consider this, not dissertation, it's called a conversation about resilience. Now, as you notice in the title for this discussion, the pillars of friend, the pillars of mentor, that's referencing a few previous 820 episodes on the definition, or the 8 steps, if you will, of friend. Remember, this was or is the Ming view of the friend world, and could be totally wrong, totally outside of reality, that I'm offering to you what I'm calling the 8 pillars of friend. Now, that model, those 8 steps, or phases, or perspectives, they can be wrong. But I hope that recall and recanting of the 8 pillars of friend can be useful to you today in your journey and on with resilience. Just a quick background. Those 8 pillars of friend. Number 1, to qualify yourself as someone's friend, you should have disparate backgrounds. Number 2, you should have common and shared experiences. Number 3, similar or complementary trauma. Number 4, you should have experienced this person over a concentrated duration of time. Number 5, you should each have a common, relatable desire, discipline, and drive. Number 6, you both share the constant over any and all variables in life. That constant is love. Number 7, you do share core competencies. And number 8, you come to an agreement on reliability between each other. Reliability under duress, under stress, making sure you're available to that person without question. And then the other caveat of number 8 is constant contact is unnecessary. Now, I respect a possible response as those are a lot of steps on our formally presumed topic called friend. So just consider that as a baseline for this conversation. Those are the 8 steps for a friend. You might agree with them or not, but let's put that as the baseline. Now, you might think that there are less requirements for becoming a mentor. You can become a mentor without being a friend. Can become a friend, however, after you decided to become a mentor, but you become a friend addressing all 8 steps, and then you can mentor that friend. Meaning you can mentor someone who is not initially qualified as your friend, but you are still qualified to mentor anyone. You are still qualified to mentor anyone. And not just anyone can ever be your friend. You cannot call or consider someone as your friend without the necessary 8 steps. But you can mentor anyone, and especially someone you don't even know at all. And you can mentor someone who is not your friend based on the construct of the 8 pillars of friend. So, this might bring up an obvious question. Which of the 8 pillars of friend apply to the mentorship process and decision? I would say all of the 8 pillars apply with a slight adjustment, meaning The 8 pillars of friend apply as the 8 pillars of mentorship as well, with a slight adjustment. And that slight adjustment is time. Under the confirmation and the structure of the 8 pillars of friend, time becomes irrelevant. Let me say that again. Under the construct of the 8 pillars of friend, time becomes irrelevant. But for mentorship, time and focus should have a limited duration for the execution of the mentoring process. But at the conclusion of a mentoring process or program or effort, said mentee must graduate to flying solo on the defined desire, discipline, and personal drive that they have developed for themselves. The mentor has shown or demonstrated to the mentee how to fish, as an analogy. Now, that mentee needs to feed himself, to fish, to learn to fall to learn. On his own, if both mentor and mentee come to a joint agreement on the progress of the process. And actually, this conversation also will help me to update the overall description of the original 8 pillars of friend. To mentor anyone, you should consider these metrics and set a time period on this effort, sort of like the old IBM services structure. In IBM, they would ask you as a consultant or a service manager to bound and define the parameters and the objective solution of the problem expressed by the mentee to the mentor. A start point, an end point, project serial phases, customer acceptance criteria, in-progress reviews, after-action reviews, lessons learned, best practices developed, all formally documented. The time constraints on mentoring versus the lack or the unnecessary time constraints on friend. In mentoring, it would require a contract, if you will, a joint project to complete under the resilience construct. Having joint courage over vanity, joint courage over arrogance of both parties involved. And yes, in that order, ideally. The mentorship process should begin with the request from the mentee. It is possible, following and staying true to the 8 measurement principles, that the mentor could initiate the relationship. But, and this is why I advocate for the engagement to proceed as I stated before, the mentorship process starting with the mentee request. Because the mentoring should represent a need of and from the mentee and not a want or hobby or a passing fancy of the mentee. Nor should a mentor view the mentoring opportunity as an ego boost or an entry into their CV or resume or political aim. Remember, those 8 steps of friend apply to the mentoring process. Disparate backgrounds, common, shared, or relatable experiences, similar or complementary trauma, concentrated duration, 5 common, relatable, and desired principles of desire, discipline, and drive. The constant over the variables, to love, the meaning of love, to listen, the meaning of listening in leadership. Core competencies, including resilience, the 7th sense, meaning again, further, courage over vanity. And then again, reliability. You see, the mentorship process should have some baseline structure. It's a team effort, and it is on the clock. Not as a competitive or comparison sport But maybe the distinction between the application of the 8 pillars of friend versus the 8 pillars of mentor is more of a specified and written construct or contract, with time as the defining difference. I know it's a lot, but please pay attention, stay current, stay present. Remember, no matter where you are in this world, it is always 8:20.